Oh, it's me. Sorry. Welcome to the Outstanding Women Leaders Podcast, or OWLs.
We give a hoot.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Kristen Aguirre, a former TV anchor turned young stroke survivor, now hustling to make my dream of becoming a national speaker and author come true. Now, I'm currently jobless, but not loveless. I come from a very big Latino family, and as I transition to my next step, I've decided to move back in with my Mexican parents, which is amazing, but also terrifying at the same time. Now, my family is the love of my life and my motivation every morning to wake up and hustle. I really want to buy everyone a house and pay off all of our student loan debt, which is a lot. Now, that's just a little something about me. I'm not alone here, and I'm accompanied by my resilient and quirky co-host, Katie Eads, who, like a cat, has 9 lives when it comes to careers and relationships. Girl, really quick, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Kristen. I can't remember if you mentioned I'm funny, but in case you didn't, I just want people to know I'm also hilarious and quirky. And I'm also the founder of Owl Professional Coaching. And like a cat, I've landed on my feet a few times when it comes to careers and relationships. I'm a divorce thriver, toxic relationship survivor, and the queen of transitioning. After proclaiming 2020 my year, screw you, Corona, you're not stopping me, I launched the Outstanding Women Leaders podcast with my girl, Kristen. Our vision is to connect with outstanding women leaders from around the world, share their story, and inspire you to give a hoot in your own community. Today, we hope to inspire you to share your superpowers with the world and be your bold, brave, and unique self. But enough about me. If you're ready to hear your laugh, feel the presence of faith in your life, and hear the F-bomb a few times, then let's get started. Here we go.
Now, today's episode, we are kicking off Divorce Week, which is inspired by our girl, Katie, yes, who makes divorce look effortless and beautiful and necessary. Now, it's a celebration of letting go of the old to leave room to welcome the new. Today's guest is Sara Zelowitz, a self-described new age hippie horticulturist. Now, Sara is a personal chef who is passionate about farm-to-table eating. And when she's not raising plants, she's marrying and divorcing the same guy, not once, but twice. I cannot wait to hear about this story.
Welcome, Sara.
Hi.
I just want,
For those who aren't watching this, Sara is in a room filled with plants. It's so beautiful.
There's a few. There's just a few.
How many are in that space that you're in right now?
In where you can't almost see in my in your direct sight line, there's 53.
53 plants. Wow.
Katie, show us your cactus.
Yeah, I want to see him.
Poor little baby, you're trying.
This cactus is kind of a metaphor for just me in general. I surround myself with things that I know I can take care of, but then my insecurity about whether or not I can keep plants alive causes me to overcompensate. And so I have drowned this little guy.
You drowned.
She loved it to death.
What's sprouting at the top? Like, what is that?
It's a cactus. So this was a flower and it was bright pink.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Okay, right.
I thought we were going to have a great life together, and I left him alone. And then I was like, oh crap, I want to make sure he's got some water. I've been leaving him alone for too long. And then he died. So like most of the men in my life, they prefer to be left alone.
I think that's just men in general, right?
It is.
Welcome to Divorce Week, everyone.
Welcome to Divorce Week, which I love. I love that Kristen said, like, everyone should do this. No, please don't. Learn from us. And if you're currently going through divorce, just know that we know how fucking much it sucks. And Sara knows not once, but twice. So Sara, tell us this story.
All right. Well, do you want the long version or the short version?
We want your version.
So what happened is I have met and re-met and married and remarried the same guy. And it was probably a mistake the first time, and it was definitely a mistake the second time. It's been a learning experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how old were you the first time that you met this man and decided that he was going to be the one that you got the government involved with in your relationship?
I was like, I'm totally pro-government. I was 19. Mm-hmm. I was just barely a year out of high school. Yeah.
You're a baby. You didn't know what you wanted.
Who the hell makes rational decisions when they're 19? Besides Drea and becoming friends with me. But who honestly makes rational decisions when they're 19 years old?
Who
Especially
makes rational decisions in their
altering
30s? I don't know. Like, we're all still babies in my eyes. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only 33. My dad's like, you're 33. I'm like, I still need your help. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, see, it's the polar opposite. I still try to convince my dad that I'm an adult. I'm like, yeah, sure, Dad. Sure, yeah, okay. Whatever you say.
So 19, I was 21 when I met my ex-husband, so also young, dumb, and full of pun.
I was a little afraid for a second there.
Never know where I'm gonna go.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
So you
That's
meet
kind of, I guess, a life lesson right there is I never know. I never know.
And so 19 years old, not most men aren't out there like, let's put a ring on it at 19.
Right.
This was, okay, so even crazier. So we met in the beginning of April and we got married towards the end of May. Like, month and a half later.
Were you guys in high school together, or how'd you meet?
No, we met like at a party, basically, just having mutual people kind of in common, and we were able to talk. And I basically moved in with him the next day, and it was like passion and amazing, and it was exactly what I probably needed at the time, which was terrible.
Do you think that like hormones had a play in that? Because I mean, you're 19, like what isn't passionate when you're 19, the first time you're like having sex? Right? Or being intimate. I don't know. I guess what in you made him think like, okay, yeah, let's get married to this one. I'm a baby.
I wish I could speak for him. I guess it was like he needed somebody probably to take care of him, and I needed somebody to take care of. And it kind of just melded into a marriage. And this was not that long after 9/11. So, my God, am I old? So, it was not that long afterwards, and he was military. So, we were together, and we felt like this was it, and we had met the person that we were supposed to be with, and then he was supposed to be shipped off because war, and what was going to happen to me. So, it made sense in a logical standpoint, it made sense to get married. But in any other logic, if that wasn't the fact that he was supposed to be going away, we probably wouldn't have gotten married.
Yeah, but the external factors that push you to get married sometimes, when I think of the girlfriends I had that were engaged and then they broke it off because they're smarter than me, I had that same external factor of kidney failure and chemo, like some type of crisis in your life that just literally you're like, this is my person. I would die without them.
Exactly.
That happens for a lot of women that want to take care of someone.
And you hold on to what you've made up in your mind. You're holding on to, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is how I feel. And that's it.
So how long did your marriage last the first time?
We got married in May, and we had split by the end of December.
Oh, wow. I'm curious, what did like the people around you that love you say about you getting married to this man so quickly?
Well, we didn't tell anybody for almost a month. Oh, and then we slowly started telling family members, and everybody was pretty shocked. They were kind of like, what are we going to do now, I guess?
Right.
Who were your witnesses? Like, who signed for this wedding and certificate?
Oh my God, it's so long ago. So it was two of my friends from high school came, a girl that we were mutually friends with, one of his guy friends through the military who I had never met before, comes to sign like in the court, like to sign the paperwork for the wedding. And it was like, oh, how long have we known each other? And I'm like, 6 minutes. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So
we got married. We kind of like eloped. So it was.
Yeah. So you didn't stay married long, which is good. You're like, oh, this was a mistake.
Yeah. What led to the divorce in December?
We were fighting. We were fighting a lot, and we were both very thick-headed and very strong-minded. And when you have two people who have never really learned how to have a constructive fight, and you put them both in a combative situation when they're combative people, it doesn't end well. It really doesn't end well. You have to, in my mind, I feel like you have to almost learn how to fight with somebody that you're in a relationship with, so that it doesn't cruel, and it was becoming cruel, and both of us were becoming increasingly violent, and it was a volatile situation.
Mm. And during this time, how many plants did you own?
Back then, I didn't have any with me then, which is really sad. I had one plant, but it lived with my mom. So
I love that you made sure your plant had a good home.
I did. I was like, let Mama Bear take care of that one, and I'll see what I can take care of.
So you divorced this man that you can't.
So what was the divorce like for you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, one more time.
What was the divorce like for you? Like getting the divorce at such a young age? Like what was that process like?
It was, I didn't, see, it's almost like I have to be very passive about this. I didn't do anything. I waited a couple years, and then my dad got on my case about it, and he actually paid the lawyer, filled out the paperwork, and whatever amount of time later, we went to court, and I had not seen him, my ex, in 3-4 years. And that's when we finally got divorces, like that many years later. It was just like on the back burner, never paid attention to it. Finally just got it concluded, and we were at court, like almost chatting like we were old friends. Like it was no big deal.
Wow.
It was almost surreal. Like
you just split up, and then and just were like, yeah, we're not going to see each other anymore. You obviously didn't have any property. You're 19.
We split, and it was bad because of the violence. There was restraining orders involved. It was such a terrible situation that it was kind of like, grab everything you can grab and get the hell out of there. Like, you need to be far away from this person.
Wow, but still legally married for years.
Still legally married for years. Yeah, we didn't get divorced until 2007, and we got married in 2003. So
Katie, you had like a weird divorce like situation too, because I remember we hadn't talked for years. I already moved away from Quincy, and then you messaged me that you got a divorce, and I called you, I think the next day, and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We were catching up, and I was like, what happened? And you're like, oh yeah, we got a divorce. We got a beer afterwards. I was like, what? You're like, yeah, we had a beer, no big deal. I was like, okay.
That's not normal for people. Just so you know, that's a unique, it's a wonderful situation, but it's
it's not. I mean, I've never been divorced, and I thought it wasn't normal. And I was like, okay, she's like telling me what she was doing. I'm like, go back to the beer. How did this happen? I was going to ask if you wanted me to fly to Quincy and we could key his car. Like, that's what I'm used to. I'm from the south side of Chicago. That's what you do when you get divorced.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we were divorced in 6 weeks. When you give your ex everything, including the dog, it's really easy to get divorced. No, Henry died. Henry was mine.
Oh.
Charlie.
Sorry. I don't think I met Charlie. I only knew Henry.
Charlie. So yeah, we did have a beer afterwards. We went to divorce court, but I like sang the little court song in my head as I testified, and said, it was like I had to say a few things. It was nervous. I'd never been on a stand before. And so he was like, do you want to get a beer? And we went to our old college bar.
So it was your idea to get the beer?
I think so, yeah. This is like closure, I guess. I mean, it was the last time I ever had a drink with this man, and I'll never have a drink with him again.
When you see them like at divorce court, or when you guys are finalizing, separating, is there like bitterness, or is it different for everybody?
I think it's definitely based on the individual. What do you think?
Yeah, Sarah, I mean, you said you guys were kind of friends, and it was like weird at that point, right? Because
it was very strange. So we had, like I said, we had zero communication with each other for years. So we hadn't seen each other. He had just had a kid. Well, obviously the girl he was with just had a kid. So he was like on this emotional high. I guess he was about to propose, or maybe he had just proposed, something like that. And it was like, almost like I was happy for him, and I was in a really good place in my life at that point. So I was like happy for me, and it was almost like we were old friends, even though now thinking back, yeah, even of going and driving to court that day, I was like this, like cursing him off, like this piece of blah, 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 and can't believe I'm doing this. And
yeah, I was having my brain was still there. I hadn't had the full mental break yet, but I was getting close. I remember listening to Bruno Mars, I Think I Want to Marry You. Is that by Bruno Mars? Do you guys know that song?
Yeah, I think yeah. I'm not gonna subject anyone to this.
I wasn't either. I love that you tried that. So I listened to that song while I got ready for court, and I wore a little black dress. I was a size 2. So like I was like, I'm gonna look hot when I go into divorce court. Like I looked better than I did on my wedding day. I walked in and he looked at me and said, "You look prettier than the day I married you," which is
You're like, boom.
probably the first time he
Exactly.
actually told me I was pretty in years.
That's awful.
And yeah, so I wasn't bitter, but it was just such a whirlwind. We talked about divorce, and 6 weeks later we were divorced. Actually, it wasn't even talking about it. It was me thinking about it and then bringing it up, and then we were divorced. It was a very short time frame, and almost 12 years of my life was with this man and his family.
Is it like, I feel like taking you guys back to maybe before you were divorced, like when you first start thinking that moment, like divorce, how painful is that? I mean, I've never been divorced. I've had I just want to try to maybe relate this to women who aren't divorced. You know, like when you I think about like relationships, when you have that moment, you have that fight that changes everything and you're like, it's over from here on out. You know, divorce is different. It's like you guys are splitting your assets, you were together. You know, if I broke up with my boyfriend tomorrow, would it be horrible? Yes, it would be horrible, but we have nothing to split up other than like some shirts at his house or something, you know? So like, I guess what sparked the idea, like, okay, this is it, this is over.
All right, I'll take that one. I think it's really hard for me to testify to the first time around, just because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This time around has been completely different, where I kind of think I knew it was coming, where I was mentally preparing. I almost like, and not almost, I did. I used to daydream about my divorce. Like literally be like sitting there, and whether we had a fight or whether it was a good day and we were just like, I would literally be daydreaming about how I was going to divorce this guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem healthy.
We talked about this, and mine's worse, so I'm a jerk. And we talked about that, like you divorced him once, so in your mind it was like, let's picture this divorce again. My ex-husband almost died, and his dad died, and his mom found someone else, and so I would go to bed in our giant king size. We'd both roll over, and I would lay there and cry, and I would think about, and part of the crying was because I was like, well, I would be happy. Thinking that you'd be happier if your husband is dead is not like normal. Like I can't sit with that. And so in my head, I was like, all right, he's just away, because divorce was shameful and divorce was not an option. Divorce wasn't something my parents did. It wasn't something my grandparents did. It wasn't something his parents did or his grandparents did. So I never thought it was an option. So I would think about him just not being there. And then, you know, I would picture a Lifetime movie. I think that's when, and that happened for years. And I was trying, like going to women's groups. And he even said like the best year we had of our marriage was our last year. And he just wasn't happy.
Now that's completely different. And I can see the correlation between the two, but that's completely different. Where like in my story, I'm daydreaming about divorce because divorce is not passé. My parents are divorced. His parents were divorced. There's a lot of divorce surrounding us. So me picturing divorce was my own healthy version of where because divorce was so passé, you are like, okay, well, what can I imagine? I can imagine being a widow. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm a widow now.
Yeah.
Right. It's, you know, I like that reframe. It makes me feel a little bit better about it.
I can't be a divorcee, but it's okay for me to be a widow.
You know. Yeah, right. Totally.
I'm not trying to encourage you to murder anybody.
Yeah. And so you had a crazy story, and can't wait to share with the audience of how you finally got divorced the second time. Mine was so easy. So we go and have this beer, and our football coach when we were in college was behind the bar. He had bought the bar. And so he's like, hey, what brings you guys in today? There's no one in there. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon at a college bar. And it was summer, so college isn't in session. And I opened my mouth, and he knew I was going to say, like, oh, we just got divorced, because I like to be honest. And he said, we're just coming in for one drink. He made me buy my own drink.
He didn't even buy you the drink? That is so messed up. Like, damn, I just gave you everything. The least you can do is buy me this 50-cent beer. Like, damn.
You know, I got a mixed drink, probably tequila and water. It was like $5. And then we played a game of pool, and we each picked a song on the jukebox that kind of summed up our marriage, or like what we thought about it, or what we were thinking, I guess.
What was your song?
I played two. I played Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, because he hated that song. And then I played the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, that's really sweet, yeah.
And every time it comes on my Pandora, the sun absolutely came out for me. And he played the song Sail, Blame It on the ADD. Do you guys know that song?
I don't know that song.
Blame It on the ADD. And it's like this rap song that we would listen to in the gym. All right, whatever.
It has a lot of powerful musical moments, and it's almost like it's pretty extreme of a song.
Yeah.
For that kind of just the two of you in a bar having beers, trying to be as nice and cordial as possible, and he's like, yeah,
so we play this game of pool, right? And I run the table. I've never done this. I'm knocking every ball in. And this is his college table. And then I knock in the 8 ball, so technically I scratch. And he wins, and he's like, don't worry about it. He pulls it out. We continue to play. Well, now I can't make the 8 ball, and he ends up winning. And
Were you guys flirting?
No. And he looks at me and he says, I won twice. And in my head, I thought to myself, no, baby, I won. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm never going to play pool at this bar in Quincy again. Like,
Right.
And then, the rest of my life was really fucking hard for a couple of years. But that was my closure. But Sarah, you haven't even had your closure from this man.
No, he won't let me. It's just another aspect of control, and it just shows the character of this human being, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you're still technically married.
I am. I have all the paperwork is all done. Literally all that needs to happen is this man needs to sign 2 pieces of paper, put it in an envelope that's already addressed and stamped, and stick it in the mail. That's literally all that needs to happen. And I get divorced.
If we can just go back really quick. So you end up getting a divorce, and then how many years are you guys apart again until you see him again? And rekindle things.
So we got divorced in 2007, and then we kind of re-met, I guess, towards the end of 2014. So 7?
I guess, what is re-met? What happened?
Facebook. I was dating another guy, and I had a bunch of red wine, and we were going to, oh my God, it's so terrible. We were going to medieval times. And I, for some reason, thought it was a brilliant idea to hit up my ex-husband, whose dad used to shoe horses for medieval times. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to see if maybe we could get backstage passes or whatever the hell you get at medieval times. It all made sense to me somehow. I have no idea how.
Red wine really does the numbers on you. I don't know how many times I've thought about the man I was engaged when I moved home, just because this was like our place. So it's like memories are everywhere. And like sometimes you get red wine, I'm like, no, girl, do not even try that.
Exactly. Well,
so you messaged him, and then what happened? Sorry.
I messaged him. We chatted very briefly, and then both of our birthdays are the beginning of October. So it was in the summer, and by October, he messaged me happy birthday. And his relationship, which we did the brief synopsis of our lives in the summer, oh yeah, hey, mother of my child, everybody's happy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, dating a guy, blah, 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 really, really happy. And then 3 months later, his entire world had imploded, where the girl had left him, taken the kid, and he was, I guess, lonely, and he reached out to me, and we started talking and talking and talking and talking. And it was just like when we were at divorce court, where it was like we were old friends. Because we had almost always gotten along, but I think that was a lot of us both paying more attention to ourselves than to the other person as far as getting along.
In those moments, does it seem like, why did we ever get divorced? Because we get along so well? Or are you always reminded oh my God, this man, not for me?
I guess that answer is both. in both ways. I felt like yeah, we should have been friends. Maybe this could have worked out if we had been older or more mature.
Sure.
Maybe this person, and that's, I guess, what made me fall into a relationship with him the second time was, well, obviously we get along, and it was volatile because we were young and immature and didn't know how to be in a relationship. And now
Right.
I see it as we both know how to be in a relationship, and an adult relationship at this point. So you almost are like, yeah, all right, I can see this happening. This is fine. I don't have to reflect back on what's happened previously because we were young. We were very, very young.
Right.
Yeah.
So then what kicks off the romance?
He invited me to a Halloween party. He was a perfect gentleman. We went to the Halloween party. We had fun. Myself and my dog ended up sleeping over his house because we lived far away from each other. So he was the perfect gentleman, like put me to sleep, gave me my dog, and then we went to the diner the next day, and we just didn't stop talking and chatting. And
what did you dress up as? I just need to know.
I was a deer and he was a hunter.
That's cute.
Oh man, that is like a metaphor for what's about to go down in your life next.
Kind of. You look back and you reflect back and you're like, maybe that was also a red flag. I feel like there was a lot of red flags I might have.
Did you have people in your life that were like, hey, red flag?
Do not resuscitate. Yeah, do not go down this road again.
There were not too many people in my life that I had as close friends that knew me way back then.
Your family did though. What about your family?
What did your dad say?
My dad was very hesitant. My dad was hesitant even in the entire time that I was with this guy. He didn't want me to marry him, but he kind of just was like, she's gonna do what she wants to do. He vocalized many times negative things about the relationship, about marriage, about all of these things. So my dad was probably the only person that actually said stuff during that time frame. Besides another friend of mine who had known us way back then, but he was like, all right, whatever, if you're willing to give this person a chance, I'll give him a chance too, kind of thing.
So how long did you guys date till you decide, let's get married again?
2 years this time.
So a little bit longer.
Just a tiny bit longer.
And was it a good 2 years?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question.
Sure. No. Yeah, it was great. It was absolutely phenomenal. No, there was a lot. We didn't fight so much. We had another source to handle all of our drama because I mentioned he has a kid, and his relationship with his ex is terrible. And it was just like we were able to focus on that because she focused on me so much that we were able to kind of turn all of our negative all of our emotions, all of our anxieties, everything that was negative in our lives at that point, we were able to kind of push into that whole thing. So we weren't too negative with each other because we had an outlet.
That hits home for me. I think that's true for a lot of relationships where you don't have to focus on what's happening internally. Like, you're not fighting because you're too busy in everybody else's business. Yeah.
Exactly. We had other focuses, or mostly one, but we had other focuses. So seeing everything now and reflecting back now, I'm seeing things a lot differently. But at the time, we were happy. Everybody was like, yeah, you guys are so like the cute couple that we want to be, and it seems like you guys are so together, and always what a fairy tale story, you guys were together and then you separated and now you're back together, and bleh. But it's just
Does that like fuel your love for that person? Because every time I've had a relationship like that, people are like, "These are so cute." It's like, we are, but then you go home and you're like, "God, I hate you." But we're so cute.
I think
not my current relationship, but the past one. Just because Darren listens to all these, I know he's gonna be like, "What?"
I have to agree that it's just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a red flag for you? Is it a red flag for you guys when your ex like hates their ex? Like for me, I
Yeah.
always feel like that's awful. Like, why do you hate them so much? Like there's something not right there.
I would have questions about why you just think about them. And so to hate or to like I dated a man who'd been divorced for over 10 years, but his ex-wife was his best friend now. And the hardest part of divorce for me was, I mean, over 12 years, that's a best friend.
Sure. Yeah.
And so things would happen when I moved here that the first person you want to tell was the person that I've been telling all the time for 12 years. And you just don't do that. You get new friends. And for me, I realized he wasn't really a best friend. We liked a lot of similar things. So if we did all the things he liked and I liked, then yeah, we were best friends. But a best friend wouldn't say, hey, I like you, but can you just not be quite as much of you? Like best friends would also take you to the pumpkin patch because you want to go to the pumpkin patch every year, one time. Like best friends do those things for you. So I had to do some reframing of what that looks like. So for me, I would say it is a red flag. I don't know what your thoughts are, Sarah.
Definitely a red flag. And thinking back now to how he described that person, it's not just that they hated them, but the reasoning why they hated them and the negative things that he would bring up. Like, I have nothing positive to say about this girl, but that is neither here nor there. That's my personal experience. But for him to describe her in these certain ways, like, well then, why were you with this person for so long? And if you are so mature and they are such a negative person, why did you do this for so long? And why did it take this person leaving you instead of you leaving this person? That was also a really huge red flag that I didn't think too much about, but the fact that she left and the fact that she's not let's not go there, but not worth it. But it's just to have them focus so much negativity on this person. And then I saw it threefold when we split and he did the exact same things and said the exact same things about me.
Sure. So how long were you guys remarried again until you decided like, nope?
2 years.
So you got married and then married 2 years. And then what led to the second divorce?
The second split was, it's almost like an entire repeat of the first one. We were fighting a lot. This time I was not coping well. So I found out a couple months before this that, and I had suspicions for a little while, that my ex was a heroin addict.
Oh, wow.
So things really started to get really bad from that point forward. And because he was not allowing me to tell anyone about this, I didn't have an outlet. And I just felt so like closed off from everything and everyone. So I started reaching out to whomever I could reach out to. And we were fighting. And I couldn't trust him. He was lying to me every day. Nothing he said makes sense. And it was just, finally the nail on the head was I was gone for the night. The plan was I was not going to be home. I was going out for the night. I was supposed to work. And then I was hanging out with a girlfriend from work. It wasn't like I wasn't even leaving the town that I was working in, but he lost his shit. Drove to my work, tried to find me, started blowing up my phone at like midnight, started blowing up my phone, freaking out, accusing me of cheating. It was just this huge thing. And it was so weird because he had been home with a tenant of mine, playing video games, and then all of a sudden it was like a switch had just gone on, and he just completely lost his mind. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because every time he would come at me, I'm like, why are you doing this? Why? Just tell me why. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Just text after text after text of him coming at me and being combative and saying negative things and just being a horrible, horrible person and saying horrific things, and me just going, but why? Like, what? Why are you doing this? Like, I love you. We're married. Why are you doing this? And it finally was just like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. He left for the day, for the house, left the house for the day. I came back, found out that he had gone through the house, had found things of mine and destroyed them, including plants, including sentimental plants.
Poor plants.
Poor
Poor babies.
Only 2 survived.
Yeah.
Um,
Always that switch. Like for me, it was instant. Like there was something that happened where I was like,
yep.
done.
Yep. It finally clicks in your head and you're like, pardon my French, what the fuck have I been doing for this long? Like, really, why am I allowing this to happen?
Yeah. My
never
moment
been
wasn't as
divorced.
dramatic, but I almost feel like it would have been easier if it was dramatic, because I imagine because it was so dramatic, it was easy to leave.
Well, it was easy to kick him out, thank God. Because it was my house. So it was pretty easy to kick him out. Besides the fact that he kept coming back and stalked me and followed me, and that was really fun for a while there. But I ended up so we split up basically Saturday night into Sunday. By Wednesday, so many dramatic things had happened. The police had to be called so many times that I had to put a restraining order on him again. It was like an exact repeat of what had happened so many years ago with like different little factoids, but it was like the entire thing was replaying. And I guess—
Did you realize that when you were going through it the second time? You're like, this is just like last time.
It took me a couple of weeks, but in a very short time frame, I was able to kind of reflect back and go like, well, I kind of saw this coming, didn't I? This has already happened. It's the exact same thing. So
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, history is, I taught history, like history repeats itself. History is an indicator of how you will act in the future or how things will work out in the future.
hand to God, this is never going to happen again. This is never going to happen again.
You learned your lesson, and you've fallen in love with an amazing man.
I have.
And he's a Cancer. Not that he has cancer, but he is the sign Cancer.
Yes.
Katie and I both are with Cancers.
We love our Cancer men. I would love, Chris, we're going to have for divorce week, we're going to have our men on. We should have you and your Cancer man as well.
Yeah.
I do think there is something to be said about that water sign. And I'm fire, and we're not supposed to go along well together, but we do. Tell us about how you found this.
How did you meet this man?
Oh my gosh.
You totally change when you talk about him too. Like your voice pitch, your face. It's just like, oh, this is my man.
This is my man, me most of the time. I have to note, like, on top of everything, my man is also divorced.
Oh.
So it's—
We should have had him on too.
Yeah, right. No, so a lot of initial connection happened because we were both going through divorces. So we met kind of oddly online. He messaged me.
Was it Zeus? Is that right?
It was, yeah, I think so.
Okay, so if you're listening right now and you're dating and single, do not go on Zeus. This woman is the only woman that's ever met a man on there.
Oh my, yes, and I had to weed. It was like, what?
Yeah.
You ever want to just message somebody's mother and just be like, listen.
Yeah.
You done?
You messed up, honey. You messed up big time.
Can we discuss?
What happened to him? Did you drop him? Like, what happened?
You know, we like to blame the mothers, but I'll be real honest, blame the fathers.
Well, yeah.
Because men grow up to be like their dads. But anyways, I digress. Tell us about this amazing diamond in the rough that you met on Zeus.
Diamond in the rough. So he messaged me. He had something funny to say, and I was like, all right. His name on there, because I'm a huge Disney addict, his name on there was like Wreck-It Ralph or something like that. So you've got Fitz, you've got Disney, you've got everything, right? He had never seen the movie, of course. We watched it together.
Do you cry? I cry every time I watch Wreck-It Ralph.
I've never seen this movie either.
What?
I'm waiting
It's
till I have
so
kids to watch
good.
all these, because I'm gonna watch them a lot.
Oh, I'm just a weird adult 30-year-old woman who watches it. No big deal.
You are not weird. Hello. I watch almost entirely Disney Plus. This entire apocalypse I've gone through all Disney.
Okay, Sarah, have you seen Coco?
Oh, yeah. I could probably.
Katie has not seen Coco, and obviously, as a Latina, I am personally offended for our entire
We went
race.
to movies in the park one time to watch it through True Mentors, but I didn't watch it. I mostly corralled children.
Well, yeah. And if you did watch it, you would know because you would have cried through it.
You would have like a hyperventilation cry, like.
So you gals will have to come over. I'll cook, and we will watch Coco on the 4K, the huge 4K.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm down for that, and I do want to talk to you about your personal chef and your farm to table, because I think that those services are something that I need in my life. But
I'm sorry, we keep interrupting. So you meet him on Zeus.
I mean, I met him on Zeus, and we chatted on Zeus very briefly, and it was just like every single thing was like key point of something I'm looking for, key point of something I'm looking for, funny and amazing and cute, and all of these things. And I was like, do you want my phone number? And he called me about 2 minutes later.
Oh.
It was like so sweet. And we just talked and talked and talked for hours and hours and hours, which sounds very similar to my last relationship. But this was actual communication. This was actually learning about each other and listening to the other person and retaining information, retaining so much information that he planned the unbelievably quintessential 100,000,000% perfect first date. I could not have planned it better myself, and I'm totally type A, so I would have planned it myself. But it was like he listened to what I said I liked and I enjoyed, and he planned this perfect date. And besides like the nervous butterflies, it was comfortable and amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and it was like, yeah.
Where'd you guys go? I need to know about this first date now.
So we, if you know more about me, it makes sense. But he brought me to a wine and cheese bar where there was like live music.
You don't even know me, and that would be my perfect first date.
Yeah.
Same, live music. I'm in.
That was just stop one. Then he brought me to this restaurant, which is like a speakeasy. So it's like in this basement. It's really, really, really
I love those.
Food. All like the craft cocktails. Okay, are you ready? Because I'm probably gonna cry reflecting back on this, so I'm going to. So we were there for hours. Like, if I had to guess, probably 4. If I'm guessing, I had no idea any concept of time whatsoever. I think our reservation was at 9, and I believe we closed the place around 2 in the morning. But don't quote me; I have no idea. So we get there, and the whole place is absolutely amazing. And we had been there for whatever amount of time. And I'm looking around, and he asked me if I had noticed that if there were flowers on any table. And I'm like looking around, like, what the hell? There was a gorgeous vase of flowers on our table when we first sat down, and I had moved it out of the way so we could keep talking, never paid attention to it. He had flowers delivered to the restaurant before our reservation so that they could be placed on our table.
He's not real, girl.
I know.
Like first date. So if I was on this first date, I just want you to know that what I would do in my head, I would be like, what's wrong with him? I think he might be a serial killer. Yep, like I immediately would go to.
He's gonna rape me immediately after this date.
I mean, I had weapons with me, so I wasn't too worried. And I had a few friends text and call me throughout the night because they were like, "Are you alive? What's his license plate number? Like, what is happening right now?" Right? So they were protected. So I felt comfortable, and that was one of the biggest things. Is I felt comfortable for the first time in a really long time, which was amazing. But no, my talk wasn't about him like murdering me and me being like, don't get murdered, like you're okay. Me in the bathroom was like, do not tell this man you love him. This is your first date. Do not tell this man you love him.
Oh, I love that. I would fight it. When I met Dan, in my entire mind, like this was just a guy that I really enjoyed spending time with, and we had great conversation. He was really smart, and I respected him. Like, why would I date that?
So how long have you been together with him, Sarah?
We have now been together for 1.5 years.
Oh, wow. Do you guys have plans to get married, or is that just not?
No. So, like I mentioned, he's also divorced. So it's kind of like, we don't need the wedding. We don't necessarily need the party. So what would be the purpose? Like, we're together, we're happy.
Mm-hmm.
we're in the same home. Like, what is that besides a piece of paper that we then would potentially have to deal with in the future?
The
Not
government getting
pessimistic about it, but
Sure.
and
I feel that so much because like in my like family and culture, it's like marriage, kids, and that's just kind of not where like I am with my current partner who I adore probably the same way that you look at your man is the way I look at mine. And that's just not really part of our story, I think. Maybe down the road, but like right now, like there's just no need.
Do you think
exactly.
you'll ever get married again? Will you ever get the government involved in your relationship again?
I don't think so. I don't believe so. And I would marry him in a minute. Like, honestly, I would get the government involved. I would get our families involved. I don't even care. I would get everybody involved. I don't care. But there's what we were saying. It's just there's no need. There's absolutely no need for us to get married. We're in a secure, stable, healthy, mature relationship. Plus, he promised me he would get me jewelry anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like, what?
Do you think women are pressured still, even in 2020, to get married and be a wife?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. Especially by family. Like, I think my dad would like to see me married just so that he doesn't have to worry about me, I guess. It's a very old school way of thinking, but that's kind of how he thinks. So I think that there is a lot of pressure still, even now, even in this day and age, to be married and to have a family and to fit into the structured idea of what life is supposed to be like.
Sure.
Yeah, I did not
It's sad, but true.
think I would want to get the government involved, but I had always said, but I also really did still want to be a mother and decided, well, if that is God's plan, I meet a man and we want to have children, I will get married again. So I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'll get it.
No.
But I did not see that. I would not have saw that for myself. I think giving up my bachelorette pad is going to be hard enough for me. Really love what I've built here.
So Sarah, you're still technically married to your ex, right?
I am.
So the issue is he won't sign papers?
He just won't sign papers. That's literally it. And so the first time we got married, it was in New Jersey, and we got divorced in New Jersey. The second time we got married in New Jersey, but we're trying to get divorced through the state of Pennsylvania, and the rules are a lot different. So right now, because he's refusing to sign paperwork, like literally that's all that needs to happen. He signs the paperwork that was sent by my lawyer. And then a judge.
Does he say why he doesn't want to sign the papers?
There's only speculation, and there's a few different schools of thinking here. I think it's just because he's an asshole. And like there's no other explanation. I have friends that think that he probably thinks that I'm trying to get remarried, so he feels like this is his like F you to me or whatever.
Right, like holding you back or something.
Exactly. But the reality of the situation is he was a very controlling person during our relationships, both of them, including almost all of the relationship that we were just in. But he's still trying to control. He's still trying to be in charge.
Sure.
So that's the only thing I can speculate on is he's just trying to still be in control. He actually dated a girl that he met online who she had actually reached out to me on Facebook, and she was like, he told me you were going to reach out to me and you were going to badmouth him and all this. And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, like, I don't care about you.
Did you respond to that girl? I'm curious.
I did. I had a conversation with her, and because mostly I was curious. I'm like, okay, why is this person contacting me? And she was telling me, oh, he said you've been divorced for a while. He claimed that he owed alimony and took money from her to pay his alimony.
No.
Oh, he's still a hair.
I wonder if they're still together. Like, what?
No, they are. She reached out to me after they had split.
Oh, damn.
And yeah, she was like, he said this and this and this, and I was like, I didn't badmouth him. I didn't say, because I was like, I don't know if this is a trick or whatever this is. So I didn't say anything negative about him. I agreed with anything that she might say. I'd be like, yeah, I can agree to that. But I've never said anything outright negatively. But I did tell her, like, that's just not the way that divorce works in Pennsylvania. There's a waiting period and a time frame, and you have to wait for this to do this. I'm like, this is not me making this up. This is literally, like, you can look this up.
This is just what's happened. Yeah.
This is just what's happening. This is the amount of time frame that we've been working with, and this is the stage that we're at now. I'm like, no, we're not divorced, and no, he didn't owe me alimony, and no anything like that. On top of the fact that I'm not asking for alimony. I'm not asking for it. I just want my divorce. Please divorce.
Someone needs therapy. Damn.
Did you change your name when you got married?
I did. This time, not the first time. The second time I changed it, sadly. And I want to change it back.
It's funny. I'm terrible at like getting passports and like filling out paperwork, but within 2 weeks of my divorce, less than 2 weeks of my divorce, I had a new driver's license and a new social security card with my old last name.
Oh yeah, the moment that thing is finalized, like the literal moment, I will be standing outside of the DMV and Social Security and just changing it all back. I am so excited to change it back.
Yeah. All of my credit cards were in my maiden name because I didn't use them. And I never called when I got married, and I didn't actually want to change my name. You talk about controlling. My ex-husband booked a flight in his last name for my cousin's wedding and said, you have 6 months to change your last name.
Wow.
So I did, so I could get on that damn plane. And it was literally, I remember it was in Bloomington, Illinois. Because he wants to go to the DMV in Chicago, and he was living there at the time. And I went to the DMV, and it was probably a week before my cousin's wedding. That's how terrible I am at doing things that involve paperwork. But it was important. If it's important enough to me, turns out I can do it real fast. What's your maiden name?
And Zelowitz is my maiden name.
Good. So you're still at least using it.
I try to use it for as much as I can. I try to stay away and shy away from my married name.
He won't even mention it. He doesn't get a mention.
No.
Kristen sent me a package, which was super cute. She sent me this great little owl, but it had my married name on it.
But that's only because I didn't change your name in my phone. I changed it now, but I paid with Apple Pay. You know, you could like add a contact. That's why.
That totally makes sense.
But you're back to Eads in my phone now.
All right. Good.
So future packages will say Eads. I know, she's like, it says Tappy. I'm like, will you open the damn gift?
In a hot second.
Oh, sorry. And she's like, it says my married name. I'm like, can you open the gift? Like, who cares what the package says? Like,
Sara, you've been through so much with these divorces. You've got to have emerged with some superpowers, I imagine. What would you say your superpower is?
My superpower? Resilience.
yes.
Seriously.
It's definitely not your thick-headedness. I'm just kidding.
What are you talking about? I am not thick-headed. No, resilience, just being able to bounce back and reflecting on things and not just letting them drag you down. Really just working towards life. That's what you have to do. You have to wake up every day and make a conscious decision. Like, I'm going to be happy today. Today's going to be a good day. Even if shit things happen, today is going to be a good day. So you have to have that resilience. You have to have that strength to bounce back, because there's so much terrible stuff, like an unreal amount of terrible stuff that can be thrown at you. And you just have to, you know what? Today's going to be a good day.
I dig that. I'm reframing a little bit because I have bad days sometimes. Not so many actually right now, but I've really been thinking about just how every day I can feel fulfilled, and really seeking did I feel fulfilled today? And particularly with the job that we have and the podcast and coaching, I think if I can at the end of the day feel like I did something fulfilling, good day, no complaints. I may not have been happy the whole time. It may have been like the hardest day of my life, but I will say I felt pretty fulfilled even in that first year where I packed up my car and drove across the country and couch surfed, and it was awful and I cried a lot, but I felt fulfilled, as odd as that sounds. Maybe not happy, but I had a purpose again.
Sara, if you can go back to Sara at 19, what would you say to her?
Don't effing get married. Just don't throw yourself into that cycle. That and save money. But just just don't throw yourself into that cycle of terrible, bad for you men. Like, I can honestly say, with the exception of very, very few, I haven't dated a bunch of great men, with the exception of the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man that I am with right now. But it's just, don't throw yourself into that cycle. Just learn people and learn yourself most of all.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, learning yourself and loving yourself. So that way, when someone you meet doesn't love you, you can recognize it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right?
Somebody who's just looking out for them. Like, if I was stronger as a person, I probably wouldn't have gotten back together with my ex a second time, because I would have seen for myself that was not a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where do you see future, Sara?
Where do I see future, Sara? More plants, probably. I might need a bigger house for all of the
More plants and a personal chef. Let's talk a little bit about this COVID business that you're launching.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I have a culinary degree. I have a passion for cooking, and I have a passion for growing food, and I absolutely thrive in the earth and then in the kitchen on top of that. So I'm doing personal chef work where I'm putting together meal plans for people specializing in any kind of nutrition needs that they could have, but pushing together and coming together to make a week's worth of meals for people or for families that will help fulfill them. We talk about fulfillment. That will help fulfill them and will feel good. And then in addition to that, small-scale dinner parties and catering and things to that nature, but really just growing and providing food for other people. Nurturing them.
I love that you have taken this clear need to nurture, and instead of finding the man that needs nurturing, you're pouring it into your business, into your plants.
Pouring it into the earth, really.
Yeah.
Love it.
So great.
Sara, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been such a great, I feel like we should have had mimosas too, Katie.
We should have.
Such good, it was so natural, like girl talk. I love it.
I know. We have a podcast tonight at 6 that's going live. We should share that with people. It's Pride Week. My dad's gay, my aunt's gay, my college roommate is gay. So we want to make space to share their stories. So drinking mimosas at 10 a.m. when we have to do, like, I would just keep going. I don't know about you, Kristen, or like if
I'm trying not to drink during the week, although I went to dinner with my mom last night and had a margarita. My dad's like, you said you weren't drinking during the week. And I was like, it's a celebration. He's like, okay, we have to, like, it's not a celebration. It's like, but it is. I'm out with mom and grandma. But I'm going to try not to drink, although tonight I might.
Sara, where can people follow you to learn more about your personal chef and catering business?
So both on Facebook and on Instagram, it is Sweet and Savory by Sara.
Sweet and Savory by Sara.
That's such a great name.
And if you are like me and you've gained the COVID-20, you can do Sweet, Savory, and Skinny by Sara, because you also have nutrition plans for that, right?
I do. I have a full breakdown working with any nutrition needs, and I've been fully trained and fully versed, and I do it myself. I'm not just that one of those people who is like, just do what I tell you and not what I'm doing myself.
Yeah.
That was really important. That integrity when I owned the gym was important to me for nutrition, because I taught nutrition. I had a lot of days where I didn't work out, but I, at the very least, was conscious about what I put in my body. And that was what I wanted to share with people, is you can work out 7 days a week. What you put,
but if you eat like crap, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, is why, even though I don't work out as much as you, I can go to a competition and crush it, because I have a really good diet and I can hang. So
sure, yeah.
Sara, thank you so much. Kristen,
the best. Thank you.
Yeah, Kristen, where can people follow us?
Yes, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook. I think those are the two we're most active. Twitter, YouTube. Girl, we are everywhere. Outstanding Women Leaders. Follow us. We post. Oh, and we just launched our gears. I'm having stroke ADD brain. There's so much to get out.
Yeah.
We just launched our gear. The shirts are adorable. Everyone has been buying them. So get on there. Show the world you're an owl. I bought like one of everything. I mean, I know it's basically it's our product. Obviously, I'm gonna buy one of everything.
Where can we buy these things? Where?
Ooh, we have a link on our Instagram page. Thanks, Sarah.
Yes, or you can go to Local Threads. TheLocalThreads.com is his website, and find
there's a little owl tab there.
Little owl tab. You can get a couple Hooters on your shirt. Favorite Hooters?
Yep.
Yep. 2 little owls. One with.
Does your shirt say "Boo You Whore"?
It says Horcrux.
I love it so much.
We also would love if people would want to go out on our Apple podcast and write a little review. We have 1 review. It's 5 stars. No one's shocked. Kristen, do we want to read that review? And share
Yes.
With people
read it.
It may or may not be Andrea that wrote it. Fan of this podcast. She was our first guest, and she introduced us to Sarah. So episode 4 is Andrea Ragone.
Andrea was our first guest. I forgot. I feel like that was like 20 years ago.
I have to tell you that if you're ever going to go through a divorce again, put Andrea right next to you, because let me tell you how empowering a friend like that can be. Truly, really and truly.
Oh, yeah. And also really empowering for my plants that were dying. She helps out.
Oh, well, yeah.
Kristen, what's our review currently on podcast? What are people saying about us?
It says, happy there's a platform that shows such a range of strong, positive women. Thank you. So grateful. Titled So Grateful. 5 stars. If you feel the same way, please go onto Apple Podcasts, write a little review, and rate us.
Yes. And just for fun.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you so much. And if you happen
thank you both.
If you happen to be on Podbean, you can also give us a review there as well. We have 40 followers. I just wanted to let people know that. And almost 1,000 downloads.
Big deal now. Listen, we started out with 0 followers.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah. You are amazing. Divorce Week kicks off with this amazing episode. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This was empowering, which is, I believe,
awesome.
Supposed to be.
Yes.
Therapy.